Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy, the strong style nerd, strong style cinephile, and Arrow is done, finito, finished, over, gone from our televisions. So let's geek about that for a scant few minutes, because there's some good, some bad to the episode. But yeah, it is truly the end of an era. The Arrow show started many, many moons ago. It set off the Arrowverse, it kicked off The Flash, The Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl, and just all this cool stuff that we have going on with the CW becoming like the de facto superhero network. It all started with people taking a chance on Arrow. Very, very cool. Very, very cool legacy for the show to have. Now, the show, there wasn't a real like big bad for the episode for them to fight. It was just them kind of dealing with the aftermath of Oliver's sacrifice, having to have the funeral for Oliver, even though there wasn't a body for them to bury. They apparently put just mementos and stuff in the casket for him, and it was just a remembrance, a memorial type of ceremony. It was interesting that they got as many people back as they did. Of course, the episode kicked off showing us that events happened a little bit differently with the death of Moira, Oliver's mom, that he apparently broke out of the bonds, fought off Slade before he could kill his mom. So Susanna Thompson, the great, just awesome Susanna Thompson, shows up in the first part of the episode because they kind of went back, at least for the first part of the episode, to the gimmick of the shooting the documentary type thing, and apparently the documentary that they were doing before, their Emerald Archer documentary, had to get refitted into a memorial because Oliver died, sacrificed himself during the crisis. So I thought that was an interesting way to work into the story, and then it kicked off with just kind of regular stuff going forth. And a large part of the episode was Diggle, and we finally get what we've been wanting for the longest time, and I fangirl squealed like a girl when it happened, but we'll get to that in a few minutes because I really want to get to that. But a lot of the episode focused on Diggle and his refusal to kind of accept that Oliver was gone, that his mission was over with. Because we had a flashback. Yep, we had a flashback to Season 1 Bunker and Season 1 Oliver when he's going around just swooping arrows into people. And Oliver makes a comment then the mission is like never over. But also part of what Diggle wanted to do was kind of make Oliver kind of less kill-ish. And find better ways to be a better person, to be a better hero. And he eventually does. He doesn't. We see the next person on his list is John Byrne. Easter eggs. And while Oliver's going to go there to kill the guy, Diggle tries to talk him down from it. Now Oliver actually spares the guy. The guy gets arrested, sent to prison. He actually comes back in the present because he kidnaps William, intending to throw him off the building. And while there's no crime in Star City, when Oliver rebooted the universe, he kind of made Star City perfect, this perfect utopia where there's really no need for vigilantes. But Diggle's like, no, the mission, like, something's going to happen. He just can feel it in his bones that something is going to happen. Of course, William gets kidnapped, so everybody gets marshaled. All the troops are marshaled. Everybody gets brought back. We see Ragman, who's like so overpowered for Arrow, but he's back. I like the actor, just hated the character, and the fact that, like I said, he was so OP to be on this show. Everybody scatters and goes looking for William, and it's basically just to have just a couple lines sprinkled in from everybody, because that's what most of this episode was to do, was just kind of bring everybody back to celebrate their characters, to celebrate the show, to celebrate Oliver Queen, to celebrate Stephen Amell, I believe, and just give everybody a cool send-off. A lot of this episode was just wrapping stories up and just putting people on their next chapters in their various lives. Like, see Roy and Thea. Roy proposes to Thea. They're gonna get married. Diggle and Lila are gonna move to Metropolis. Dinah's gonna move to Metropolis. Renee's gonna run for mayor. Everybody's moving on to just a post-vigilante life. I mean, that's the one thing I liked about this episode. I appreciated about this episode. It gave everybody a natural evolution, a natural moving on to something else with their lives. That was very cool. And of course, speaking of moving on with their lives, we finally get. I was just so amped up to see some kind of tease or something, or even just full-on Green Lantern action from David Ramsey as John Diggle, because we've come to just expect and just want and crave Diggle to be like the Green Lantern, to be the John Stewart Green Lantern. And we had so many just little Easter eggs and teases and stuff like that. We thought something was going to happen in Crisis, and it didn't. And I, for one, was pretty peeved that nothing happened in the Crisis, but that was okay because they promised us we were going to get something. And I thought it was going to be something super stupid. It wasn't going to be as in-depth as it was. But you see Diggle, as he's giving his speech at the funeral, it shows him and Lila moving, and next thing you know, something comes rocketing from space, hits the ground, blows Diggle into the moving van. He gets up, goes to check it out, and there's a box. Opens the box, and there's just this green glow to the box, and that was just, I squealed, like, just fangirl squealed so loud when that happened, because it was just, even if we're not getting a chance to see, like, Diggle proper suited up and doing Green Lantern things, the fact that we finally get that, like I said, people are moving on, they're evolving, they're moving on to their next chapter in their lives. Diggle's next chapter is going to be as a Green Lantern. He's going to be in Metropolis. We know Superman's going to get a show, so if he comes back, if it's just a cameo for just one episode, because that's not going to do much for the budget, I wouldn't think. They could just easily work out some budget-friendly constructs for one episode to have Superman and Green Lantern team up, a John Diggle Green Lantern team up. I mean, just think about that. Even if it's just a glimpse that we get in next year's team, like, crossover, just, that would be awesome. But will it interfere with HBO Max's Green Lantern series? That's the question now, since DC does this stupid embargo crap all the time. So, but it was just cool. Like I said, it was just cool to finally get that payoff that we've all been craving. It's like I said, Marva came back and others came back. We had Nyssa came back for the funeral. They got Katrina Law back. Apparently she lives in Hawaii now, so some people were surprised, at least on the message boards that I go to. Some people were surprised that they got her back. Tali was back. Emiko was there. Emiko and Thea shared a scene. Finally, Emiko and Moira shared a scene. That was cool. Tommy's back, and apparently there was an Earth where Tommy married Laurel, and that got smashed into the rebooted Earth. So that was interesting. And they kind of teased maybe like Tommy and Earth 2 Laurel being a thing or something. And just, there was a scene where Earth 2 Laurel was kind of like wondering why, with Oliver fixing everything, that he did not bring back Earth 1 Laurel. And she has a scene with Lance where Lance says there's nothing wrong with her, blah, blah, blah. I mean, part of the thing behind that was the producers, I believe, saying that they did not want to undo everything that Earth 1 Laurel went through. As far as her character growth and that sort of thing, and to bring her back. So I can respect that decision. I don't really care for Laurel for the bulk of the series until we got like the Laurel that we get in Green Arrow and the Canaries. The snarky, just like so just emotionally awkward like Laurel. I like that Laurel. And jingling is like my pups are just playing, of course, now when I need them to be quiet. Like I said, that was cool. They were bringing everybody back to just give some closure. We had Barry show up, we had Kara show up, so it was just cool for them to have some closure, to pay the respects to Oliver, to the show, because it launched like so many of their careers, the actors' careers, sprung from this one show, from whoever that executive was way back when, that saw like the idea, the pitch for Arrow, and just decided to go with it. That person should, get a medal, because it was just very cool that that we got this for as long as we got it. It sucks that it, on some levels, that it ended. Maybe it should have ended a couple years ago. You can argue that. But it is what it is. There were some highs and lows, and a lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff, good seasons, bad seasons, good episodes, really good episodes, really, really bad episodes. A lot of it was in season 4. A lot of it was in season 3 too. Parts of season 5, the whole Team Arrow Civil War, just crap. That was just a crap storyline. I hated that, every part of that. But overall, as a whole, for what Arrow brought us, how it created the Arrowverse, I will be eternally grateful to the show for bringing us the Flash, bringing us the Legends, bringing us Supergirl, Batgirl, Superman, or not Batgirl, Batwoman, and Superman, and now we have, like, you know, Black Lightning. I know Black Lightning didn't start as an Arrowverse show, but if there was no Arrowverse, would the network be as receptive as they were to Black Lightning? Probably not. So Black Lightning owes Arrow a little bit for its existence, and now we have kind of Black Lightning in the Arrowverse proper. That's cool. That's what we've been waiting for, so we get that payoff, that happening. We get the Diggle Lantern payoff. That was cool. So it was a very cool finale. There were just closure. There was no cliffhangers. I like that they knew they were going to end. It wasn't like a show just getting cut off or canceled. You know, Breakout Kings, that was a really, really good show, but it got canceled. So we had this cliffhanger ending at the end of the season, and the show just went off the air. So it just wasn't. It sucks. And there's a couple other shows that I really liked that had that happen, but this show knew where they were going. They knew they were going to end, and they steered the narrative towards that. That was cool. We had Felicity. She came back. I was fine with her coming back. I expected it. It was cool that they got their ending the way that they wanted. I mean, I didn't really care for them as a couple for a lot of the seasons. Again, a lot of the bad seasons and bad episodes are tied to Felicity, in my opinion. But they had a nice send-off. They ended up together. That's fine. That's how they wanted to go with it. All in all, it was a cool episode. I mean, it was just well done for what it needed to do, which is just have some closure, some finality to the show, to that part of the Arrowverse, to the characters. It was just, from that aspect of it, it was a really well done finale. From just a like plot move standpoint, there wasn't like that real big bad. It wasn't a mystery for them to solve. And of course, there's my dogs again. I thought John Byrne was kind of a weak villain, baddie character, but he served a purpose. So I was fine with that. But all in all, I was just sad that it's over, but happy that it happened. That old, phrase. Definitely sad that Arrow is gone, but happy that it happened for what it spawned and what it brought us as fans, as comic book fans, as superhero fans. I mean, it is one of the most important TV series of our time, I think, for what it did, for what it brought us, for the doors that it opened from a comic book superhero standpoint. And it should be celebrated, and it should be appreciated for that. Now, where things go forth, are we going to see Mel pop up on any other shows, any other cameos? I mean, he's the Spectre now, so will he pop up on Green Arrow and the Canaries? Will Green Arrow and the Canaries get a series order? I don't think it has to this point, so will it finally get a series order? Who knows? Superman, Lois and Clark, their new show, how will that go? Where will it air? How are things going to be going forth on the Flash, because there's no Arrow, and or Supergirl, because there's no Arrow? It's just, who's going to be like the linchpin of the crossovers now that Oliver is no longer here? Is it going to be Barry? Is it going to be Kara? Is it going to be Kate on Batwoman? Remains to be seen. I'll be anxious to kind of see how the crossover is going to go next season, or is it even Sarah going to be the linchpin of the crossover, the next crossover? I'll be interested to see how the crossover goes next season, because this will be the first one with no Oliver, no Arrow. So, wow, man, for those of us that have been there since the beginning, I mean, wow, it's a really heavy moment, because Arrow's done, Arrow's gone. So it's a lot to think about, a lot to digest, a lot to take in, but sad to see it go, but really, really happy that it happened. Those are some of my thoughts on it, scattered as they often are, of course, with the addition of my dogs in the background playing and making noise as soon as the camera comes on. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. This Saturday, Rockwall, Texas, of course, CWF TV. If you're in the area, come check us out. Come check me out, doing what I do, going places, kicking faces as only I can do, and do so well. Still got 2 Batwoman videos to come. The 9 to 5s kept me super busy, and then I have in addition to those pups, I have another sick pup who has parvo, so he's fighting that in the animal hospital now, hoping, cross the fingers that he can pull out of it. He was the runt of the litter that he came from, so he's got a big fight on his hands. So I'm really hoping that he has the fight in him to make it through, and that I'll have him home. Hoping that I'll have him home to join those two, and the ruckus will probably just be louder in here. But hoping he makes it, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, till next time, till more videos, let us geek.